Have you ever felt something so intensely that you had to hide it? Not because nothing was wrong, but because everything felt too loud, too heavy, too real. A comment someone made 3 days ago, still replaying in your head. A song that hits you somewhere you cannot explain. A stranger's sadness that somehow becomes your own. And the scariest part, you look around. Nobody else seems affected like this. Nobody else is carrying it the way you are. So you start to wonder, is something wrong with me? Am I too sensitive? Am I crazy? You are not crazy. You are not broken. You are just wired differently. And today, science is going to prove it. Here is why you feel everything so deeply, and why that is the most powerful thing about you. Number 1. Your brain processes the world at a deeper level than most people. This is not poetry. This is neuroscience. Researchers at Stony Brook University conducted brain imaging studies on people who experience emotions deeply. What they found changed everything. When a deeply feeling person encounters an emotional experience, a conversation, an image, a memory, their brain shows significantly higher activation in regions associated with awareness, empathy, and decision-making compared to the average person. In simple terms, your brain is doing more, processing more, feeling more. Not because something is malfunctioning, but because it is built to operate at a higher level of depth. Psychologist Elaine Aron, who has spent her career studying sensitive people, found that roughly 1 in 5 humans is born with this trait. She calls it sensory processing sensitivity, and it shows up in every culture, every country, every generation throughout human history. You did not choose to feel this deeply. You were born this way, and your brain, the one that keeps you up at night, the one that replays every moment, the one that notices everything, is not your enemy. It is your greatest asset. You just have not been taught how to use it yet. Number 2, you absorb other people's emotions without realizing it. Here is something that might explain a lot of your life. Have you ever walked into a room and immediately felt the tension, even though nobody said a word? Have you ever spent time with someone who seemed fine on the surface, but left feeling drained, heavy, or sad for no reason you could name? That is not your imagination. That is your nervous system doing something most people's cannot. Scientists call it emotional contagion. The unconscious absorption of another person's emotional state through mirror neurons in the brain. Everyone has mirror neurons. They are what allow human beings to feel empathy, to watch someone stub their toe and wince ourselves. But in people who feel deeply, these mirror neurons are significantly more active. You are not just observing the emotions of people around you. You are absorbing them, taking them in, processing them as if they were your own. This is why crowded places exhaust you, why difficult conversations stay with you for days, why you can feel when something is wrong with someone you love, even when they insist they are fine. You are carrying emotional information that most people never even receive. And yes, that is heavy. But it also means you understand people at a level most human beings spend their entire lives searching for and never find. Number 3, you think in layers that most people cannot reach. People who feel deeply do not just feel deeply. They think deeply too. Psychologists call this depth of processing, and it is one of the core characteristics of the highly sensitive nervous system. It means that when you encounter an idea, a problem, a conversation, or a decision, your brain does not stop at the surface. It goes deeper, then deeper again. You think about the thinking. You feel about the feeling. You notice things within things, connections that most people walk right past. This is why you are so good at reading between the lines, why you often know what someone really means, not just what they said, why you can sense the weight behind someone's smile, why solutions come to you that nobody else considered. But it is also why your mind never fully rests, why you replay situations long after they are over, why you lie awake at night running through conversations, decisions, and possibilities that most people forgot hours ago. Your mind does not have an off switch, and the world has spent a long time telling you that is a problem. It is not a problem. It is the price of operating at a depth that most minds never reach. Number 4, you feel pain more intensely, but you also feel joy more completely. Here is the part nobody talks about. Feeling deeply is not just about pain. It is not just about carrying more, hurting more, being more affected by the hard things. It goes both ways. Research on highly sensitive people consistently shows that they experience positive emotions with the same intensity that they experience negative ones. The same nervous system that makes grief feel unbearable, makes beauty feel transcendent, makes love feel all-consuming, makes a perfect moment feel like it could last forever. A sunset hits you differently. Music moves you to a place other people cannot access. A moment of genuine human connection feels like coming home. You do not just experience life, you taste it. Every layer, every shade, every dimension. Most people go through their entire lives on the surface of their own experience. They feel things, but from a distance, safe, controlled, managed. But you have never had that option. And as painful as that can be, it means you have also felt things that most people will never feel at all. The depth that makes you hurt more also makes you love more. And that is not a curse, that is the fullest possible way to be alive. Number 5. Your sensitivity is a survival advantage, not a weakness. Evolution does not keep traits that do not work. Highly sensitive people have existed in every human culture, throughout all of recorded history. Every single one. That is not an accident. Researcher Elaine Aron argues that sensitive people historically served a critical function in human communities. They were the ones who noticed danger before others did, who sensed when something was wrong, who processed information more carefully before acting, who maintained the emotional and social fabric of the group. In other words, deeply feeling people were not the weak ones. They were the ones the community depended on. And in the modern world, that function has not disappeared. It has just been misunderstood. The most empathetic leaders, the most perceptive therapists, the most honest artists, the most innovative thinkers. History is full of deeply sensitive people who changed the world, not despite how deeply they felt, but because of it. Abraham Lincoln struggled with what we would today recognize as severe depression and emotional sensitivity. Virginia Woolf wrote some of the most profound literature in the English language while navigating intense emotional depth her whole life. Princess Diana connected with millions of people globally through a quality of empathy that most public figures simply do not possess. Feeling deeply is not a disadvantage that needs to be overcome. It is a design that needs to be understood. Number 6. The world needs people like you more than it knows. We are living through a crisis of disconnection. Loneliness rates have reached epidemic levels. Mental health struggles are at an all-time high. People are more digitally connected and more emotionally isolated than at any point in human history. And in the middle of all of that, there are people like you, people who feel everything, who cannot scroll past someone else's pain, who show up fully, who notice, who care without being asked to. The world does not need more people who have shut down their feelings to get through the day. It needs more people who have learned to carry their depth with intention, not to suffer under it, not to be overwhelmed by it, but to use it, to bring it into their relationships, their work, their creativity, their presence. You feeling everything so deeply, that is not your burden to fix, it is your gift to give. And the sooner you stop trying to be less, the sooner you start becoming everything you were actually built to be. So here is what I need you to take from today. You feel everything so deeply, because your brain processes at a level most people never reach, because you absorb the emotional world around you in ways others cannot, because you think in layers that go deeper than the surface, because your nervous system was built for depth, in pain and in joy equally, because sensitivity is not a flaw in your design, it is the design, and because the world is desperately short of people who still know how to feel. You are not too much. You are not crazy, you are not broken, you are one of the rare ones. And rare things are not meant to be fixed. They are meant to be understood. If this video spoke something into you today, share it with one person in your life who needs to hear this. Someone who has spent too long believing their sensitivity was something to be ashamed of. Like this video if it changed something. Subscribe for a new psychology and mindset video every single week. And tell me in the comments, when did you first realize you felt things more deeply than the people around you? See you in the next one.